Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Bike Week Radio Show with 6-time AMA champion and Motorcycle Hall of Famer Brock Glover, Bobby Woolridge, Paul Carruthers, and Scott Cox. It's Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Good morning and welcome into Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego sports leader, the mighty 1090. Oh, man.
I think we needed to
He's
have
off
the
to a
mics.
rollicking start.
We needed the mics on during the break.
We'll take it up with Let's Talk Hookup. I mean, we needed to be on here 2 minutes ago because, as always, Bike Week Radio Show starts coming out of the gates hot. And we have the whole crew in studio once again. Brock Glover back on the road.
He's
Paul
got some
Carruthers
moves.
home. Scott Cox here.
I'm here. Bell bottoms on.
Brock brought his entourage as well.
My nephew and my niece in studio because I wrangled them into helping me do the little landscaping.
Did you guys notice they even showed up before him?
Yeah. I was doing show prep.
Well,
I'm looking
now,
up
now,
MXGP. So.
Brock has his entourage. He says, I'm going to need my coffee at 98 degrees, and I want the air at 71 degrees, and so the entourage has to come in a few minutes
And
ahead
that's
of
you
him,
and me.
prepare, roll out the red carpet.
That's right.
That's what I call show prep.
He runs a tight ship, though, I'll tell him that.
Plus, I had to catch up on the Tour de France team time trial this morning, but I'm not gonna miss that one.
Well, but honestly, hope you guys had a wonderful 4th. It's good to have you guys back in studio. It's always a little more fun when we have everybody here and get to look at each other and all that whole jazz. But,
Snapping towels, laughing, scratching.
Indeed, and on today's show, we'll be joined by Rob Bidos, a good friend of Bike Week Radio Show. He's been pretty busy, and we haven't had a chance to catch up with him in a few months. But Rob's always a guy who, when he comes in, we need to clear a big block for him.
I think we have some hot topics today, too, to interact
we have
with
a few
Rob
of them
on.
to talk about, no question about it. That little entertaining as usual. Rob is always very knowledgeable about the entire sport of motorcycle. I mean, he'll talk to you about Sturgis, he'll talk to you about motocross, he'll talk to you about MXGPs, and there's a lot of news going on.
The Hall of Fame.
Whatever it takes, baby. He's got it covered, no question about it. And he would, on the way here, I was talking to him, kind of doing a little pre-show prep again there, and he was talking about the vintage motorcycle days in mid-Ohio.
Oh, I wish I was there.
Yeah,
I wish we were doing a broadcast from Vintage Motorcycle
Next
days.
year.
Next year.
I'm definitely going next year.
Well, you guys are dreaming about going to Ohio. I was just talking to Stacia, who just got back from Hawaii. I'll hang out in Hawaii. You guys can go to Ohio.
I know. She's a Hawaii girl there.
Well, let's just jump into the news here with Paul Carruthers.
Nobody knows the news better than Bike Week Radio Show.
This was an age when only men were allowed to read the news.
And only Bike Week Radio Show has Paul Carruthers.
Hey, I'm here. We can do the news now. It's all right, everyone. We can do the news. Hold on. Everyone, why are we all standing around? Let's go.
I still have the best intro of anybody on the show, I believe. You think that's right?
I'd have to agree. That's pretty hot.
Well, I don't know if he got up. I know Scott got up early and watched MotoGP
Because I get up early.
Because he's old and gets up early anyway, so he just happened to turn on MotoGP.
Where does it get to the point that literally you go to bed like the day before?
I think about that all the time.
Yeah,
like maybe I'm on Australia time, effectively.
Right.
I just wonder.
It's a day later.
Because you go to bed at 8, then it's 7:30, it's 7 o'clock.
I start looking at my watch about 4.
They're eating dinner at lunch. It's like
right. I got to last night. It was like 9 o'clock, and I'm like,
wow.
I don't.
What's it like at
It's
night?
Saturday night at 9 o'clock. But you know what? If I'm tired, what's wrong with going to bed? So
You're spent.
I was spent. Anyway, I got up this morning and watched a little MotoGP. It wasn't the most thrilling of races in what otherwise has been a pretty wonderful season. But this one was all about Marc Marquez. I think he was fastest in every session, including qualifying, and he didn't get off to. He wasn't leading in the very beginning. That Jorge Lorenzo kind of did a nice little move there and went around the outside of both
it was
Hondas.
exciting.
But you kind of got the feeling that wasn't going to last, and it didn't. But believe it or not, that's Marc Marquez is only his second win of the year. And if you think back to last year at this time,
we're talking perfect season last year.
Well, last year at this time he'd won 9 in a row, And everyone's like, oh, can he win every single race? Yeah. And, that was the big talk was, this guy could easily win every single race. He ended up winning 10 in a row because they go on their summer break now and they resume again in 6 weeks at the Indianapolis Grand Prix. And that's similar schedule to what they had last year. So he came back from the summer break and he won at Indy. But then he won the next race. He lost the next race to his teammate Danny Pedrosa at the Czech Republic Grand Prix, and the streak was over. But I mean, what a difference a season makes! Because as I just said, he's only won 2 races, and he's 4th in the points, 65 points behind Valentino Rossi, who picked up a few points on his teammate Jorge Lorenzo by finishing 3rd today when Lorenzo was 4th. So Rossi leads Lorenzo by 13, but you kind of get the feeling like, okay, Marquez is 65 points behind, but if you do the math, which I'm not very good at, if he finished second to Rossi in all 9 of those remaining races, he'd be 45 points behind, which isn't enough. But if you start doing a little more math, and Rossi finishes 3rd, suddenly he's 81 points behind. He can gain 81 points on him. So it's not completely impossible, especially with how competitive the season is, because it's not like Rossi can automatically get second in every race. That's just not the case anymore. I mean, he could get 3rd, he could get 4th, he could get 5th, and you start racking up some points. And if you look at a guy like Marquez, obviously it is possible for him to win all 9 races. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, it'll be a lot of fun to watch. And there's 9 races left, and it's I said at the start of the year that Lorenzo was going to be world champion, and I still sort of think that.
So does he.
We'll just have to see. So now they're on their summer break, 6 weeks off, and then they come back to action in the good old USA with the Red Bull Indy Grand Prix at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and talk about a really nice little segue. Here we go right to yesterday. They ran the Indy Mile.
See what they did there, guys?
So the Indy Mile was held yesterday, and what a race that was. I ended up not that my family was completely happy, but we were at dinner and I was watching it on my phone, kind of under the table a little bit.
Yeah, the top of your head looks really nice.
And then finally I just set it right, against the salt shaker and kind of watched it there.
They were at a fondue restaurant.
At one point they said, "Could you at least turn it down?" And I didn't realize it was loud enough that
he had headphones on. He said,
"No, I didn't have headphones on. That was probably the my mistake." Anyhow, it was a great race. 3 guys, Brad Baker, Jared Mees, and Brian Smith just going at it. What made it really good was, and I think you said you watched it, Scott. But,
well, Jared Mees broke in qualifying, had to use a provisional to get in the race. Right,
and he still started from the back of the grid, so he came up and challenged for the lead. But what was really cool is Smith and Mees were like pretty much staying down on the groove. And Brad Baker was
out on the
cush. I mean, he was up by the air fence. This guy was going everywhere.
He was the master of disaster.
And he never gave up on it. And you could kind of see that it was working, because there was times when he'd be able to get to the front before the finish line, and there were times when it wouldn't work. But obviously when you're out that far and you're in dirt that's loose, it's a lot riskier than a guy that's down on the groove, which is, almost pavement-like.
And as a spectator, you want to see those antics.
So on the last lap, Baker just kept at it, and he beat those guys to the finish line. So it was pretty cool to see a guy, willing to go up
by
there.
By 2/100ths of a second.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
It
Photo
was
finish.
It was very close, as is all those races. That was that ended actually. Kawasaki and Brian Smith had won the last 3 straight miles. So Baker on the factory Harley Davidson ended that streak. The championship's really close because Baker's 4th in the standing and he's only 14 behind Mees, who's leading the championship. Right. So, that thing's going to go all the way to the end as it always does. Unfortunately, Pomona, I don't know if you saw that, Pomona half mile has been canceled.
I know, bummer.
So the season's actually going to end
in Vegas.
They're kind of trying to do some super prestigio thing like they did in Spain.
I talked to Jared Mees about that, and he was hoping that, he wasn't totally enthralled with doing a final in Vegas because they've got to change the format up.
Right.
But I think, man, if we get a few of the Europeans over here.
Yeah, I mean, again, the whole thing
possible.
Probably hinges on if you can get someone like Marquez there, and I don't know if that's possible. I mean, it's possible, but I don't know if that can actually happen. But, hopefully it would, because it would definitely bring some interest to that race.
I think so.
What else? This coming weekend, we have World Superbikes are racing at Laguna Seca with Moto America. So that should be a pretty big weekend. And I mean, for a road race fan, if you go there, even if you just went on the Sunday, you'd see 4 Superbike races, 2 Moto America Superbike races, and 2 World Superbike races in one day. So that's going to be a pretty busy weekend for us.
That's a good place to be in July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I checked the weather, and it's beautiful there now, and it's supposed to stay that way. So, big weekend coming up there, and the National Motocross Championship is off this weekend. That's why we're graced with the Brockster sitting here with us. And
I think he would have come anyway.
World Motocross today is in Latvia.
Yes, it is.
That's where Brock hangs out when he goes to races in Europe.
Yeah, it's the same track that the Motocross of Nations was in last year, if you remember, and started off same guy winning the qualifying race that's smoked both motos last year, Gunther Paulin. It's odd to me because, here's a French rider, would have grown up mostly on hard pack tracks and things like that, who's a phenomenal sand rider, and won, I believe, earlier this year in Valkenswaard is where I think he won earlier. And, he just somehow, some way is just really a strong sand rider.
He's French, so he may not even know it's sand.
It may be, I don't know, but he just won it. He won his heat race again. And then also the Max Anstey won the MX2 qualifying race. So the races are going to come on the tube here pretty soon. So be interesting to see how it plays out today.
Yeah. And the other big news, obviously, and as it relates to World Motocross and motocross in general, is that Ryan Villopoto announced his retirement this week. I'm not sure what to even say. I mean, he had a hell of a career, but I think it's a bit tarnished at the end. So
that's a segue because I think our next guest is.
He might have an opinion.
I think when you talk about inner circles, Rob, I would say
like
is,
us here.
Yeah, Rob is on.
At some kind of circle.
He's on the inner circle.
He's like in the nucleus.
Well, he's
like an electron.
He's least on the perimeter of the inner circle. No question of Ryan Villopoto. And actually, Rob will tell us the story about when the decision for Villopoto to go race in Europe happened, and I think Rob was actually present. So let's.
I've got my questions queued.
For no further ado, let's bring on
Rob. You there? Good morning, buddy.
I did Neutron.
Neutron. Jimmy Neutron.
That was Scott.
Robbie Neutron.
That's what I could be.
I like that.
Good. So, Mr. Bidos, you probably heard us talking about the MXGP stuff. So, Ryan Villopoto retiring. I will say this: you told me in a private conversation, I want to say, just a few days after the Italian Grand Prix in Arco, where Ryan fell and broke his tailbone. I think you told me.
Technically, that's a coccyx.
Yes, and you told me right then it was probably likely done, that it wasn't healing real quickly, and it was a pretty good injury, and that you thought that was his last GP of the year. So what made you think that, and what do you think about the retirement there?
Well, I mean, you and I have experienced a couple of retirements. We've seen Kevin Windham's actually unfold on walking around the track at Phoenix, for instance. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you are right. You reminded me of that a while back. We kind of fill in the story. You and I were down on a somewhat of a track walk, remember, and go from there.
Well, we're walking around, and Kevin Windham walks up to you, and he goes to you, Brock, and how they have that ghostly look in their face when something's not real good.
Yeah, and this is when Kevin was actually still racing. Yeah.
I mean, people still had him picked on their fantasy leagues the whole bit, walked up to you, and he had this bleak, blank look. The fun factor had gone. Fear had kind of come in. His body told him, I'm done. You just need to say it with your mouth. And he literally retired that day.
Yep. He actually asked, he asked me, like, when do you know it's time? I think is what it was, right?
I think that was his exact phrase.
Yeah.
And with Ryan, we're around him a lot, and I know people on the internet, people that, are still race fans and things. They see him really with his super corporate hat on. And with his corporate hat on, he's almost militant, He's got to sign autographs. He's got to be right here. He's got to be right there. And obviously knowing what it's like to be the champ, your time's even more acted upon than the guys that are in second, third, 10th. You're the people, every local newscaster, every weekend, radio disc jockey, that's who they want to talk to. So you're constantly doing these things. And, you just start getting done. Well, his injuries, the leg in St. Louis when he just blew up his leg, then the ACL, then on and on. Now this Cocksick, his body had just told him, dude, I'm done. I'm done hitting the ground at 64 miles an hour.
There's only so much you can take of it, and I think you and I have talked about that, where these young kids come up and they are phenoms at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. There's only so many years I think the human body can take motocross, and it doesn't. If you start at 5 and 6 years old, your time runs out earlier than the guy who starts at 12 years old or 14 years old. So there's no question about it. And I think in Ryan's situation, he was lucky enough, or not lucky. He worked his butt off and he was a champion, but he was in a position to financially be comfortable for the rest of his life. So to take those extra risks every time you're climbing up off the ground and you're hurting like crazy, and then your injury recovers, and it seems like that fast train, what is known as the racing circuit, everybody seems to be getting a little faster, and you're stationary and you're coming back from an injury. It gets harder and harder to get yourself back on top, and there's only so many times you can do that. And no question, hanging around with a guy like Casey Stoner, who walked away from the sport pretty darn early, probably had some extra influence on Villopoto and had him start further reevaluating what he's doing and why he's doing it.
Well, I had a conversation actually early in the year with Wayne Rainey, and he read the Cycle News interview with Villopoto, and where Villopoto said, win or lose, this is my last year. And Wayne had something interesting to say to me. He goes, well, when you say that, you're already done. Because you've said this is your last year, win or lose, and he goes, at that point, mentally, you've at least, you may not have checked out, but you've definitely notched it back a little bit, because you're not going to do anything stupid at that point that could potentially, ruin those retirement plans, or whatever. So he thought at that point, when you make a statement like that, he said, you've kind of already retired.
Yeah, I think.
Well, yeah. Speaking of statements, I was pretty bummed at JMB.
I'm looking at his statement right now.
I was pretty bummed at Jean-Michel Bale's take. Just being in the situation he was in, he had won 3 titles, and as half-heartedly as you came back to defend them. All the while with the the notion that he's going just full pre-agenda, and to be that critical on a guy that did what he did here as a racer. I mean, I don't know.
Let me take 10 seconds. I'll read this so people know what we're talking about here. Jean-Michel Bale. Those of us who pay attention to the sport know who he is. I liked when he decided, he's referring to Ryan Villopoto, and this is his statement. I liked when he decided to come to defy Europe. I liked to see him fight in difficulty. Even in defeat, he remained for me the big RV2. Today I find this pitiful and not worthy of a great champion. He could finish the season with Mexico and the USGP at home and say goodbye from the podium to the world of motorcycling. Normally, the Americans are accustomed to beautiful scenario for purposes like in Hollywood. The end of this is ridiculous and shows why it has not succeeded in Europe. Humility is the foundation of a racer. Know how to lose, too. That's Jean-Michel Bale's comment.
I mean, it's an interesting, obviously, and you have to understand that, I mean, although Jean-Michel speaks very, very good English, but some of the words choices maybe because it's a second language,
sure,
or something maybe a more polished statement wouldn't be, but he gets to the point, and it is disappointing. I mean, when he got hurt in Italy, I was thinking, okay, maybe he just folds the European. When you're a champion, anything but first place is losing. When
right.
the type of person that gets to that top level, second place is the first loser. The Carmichael. I mean, you think Ricky Carmichael? I say this over and over. He hated losing more than he liked winning. I mean, he was fit to be tied after a second place. He could have come from last place all the way to second place and not
still a big lose.
He was like afterwards. I mean, there was hell to pay around the pits. I mean, it was from, I don't care if it was the engine guy to the chassis guy to
tires,
mechanic, girlfriend, wife at the future mom, tire guys. It didn't matter. They were mad and he didn't like losing. And so for this case, I was thinking, well, maybe RV will just go, look, this season didn't start off like it wanted to. I'll come back to the U.S., and I'm going to try to battle for a defended title and then call it a quits from the top of the podium like a Brad Lackey did or whoever it was. And it just didn't happen. I mean, he's going away injured and kind of as John Michelle said, I mean, I think the word pitiful is pretty strong.
That's a little strong.
Right.
Harsh.
And again, I also giving John Michelle the benefit of the doubt because pitiful is probably the word he thought about, but when it's your second language.
He meant plentiful.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Disappointing, I think.
But anyway, so that was, I mean, I don't know. I think, I don't think Ryan was necessarily at times the people's champion. He wasn't the funniest guy, unless you're alone with him.
Yeah.
He's a lot like the Jeff Stanton. If you go by his interviews, he's pretty dry. You get him off the mic, he's hilarious.
It's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we all want to believe. Those of us that don't have a personal relationship, we want to say, you know what, he's got his game face on.
And you've been there, Rob. I mean, you were in Europe when the whole discussion of this, Ryan Villapoto.
Well, where it started was in the basement at Everett's house. We were in the basement of Stefan Everett's looking at all his trophies, and RV was commenting on, like, in America, we've tried a little bit. I know there's some gun trophies and there's some Western motif trophies. And years ago, like Broome, Tioga, they used to carve those big bears and stuff out of trees. They weighed like 180 pounds. But for the most part, it's a plaque. It's a metal dish.
It's an off-the-shelf trophy.
And so,
well, they're kind of custom made, but they're not awesome.
Yeah, but Stefan Everett's basement is almost museum quality. Would you not say?
It is museum quality.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And he started showing RV some of his trophies. I mean, these ridiculous porcelain figurines, like just amazing things, artwork. He's telling RV, if you raced in Europe, you'd get, and he just kind of started going. So as he tells him about all this stuff, if you just raced in Europe one year, if you just came here, and this is when Everett's was big. With KTM, he wanted him to come and ride a Works KTM. He was telling about Works bikes, and we'll make it fit every day for you, the whole bit. So as we were driving around the rest of the 10 days, that was his thing. He goes, man, I could go to Europe and have a whole European kind of life, and see what that's like. Have a true dual experience, And he was really, really enamored with the whole idea.
So, Rob, I mean, so you think it was Ryan really driving his European tour?
No. This was like a couple of years before, but that's when it first come up. And then when he was over racing, like, how there's an exception to every rule? I think the only thing that could have sparked his interest was this European racing scenario, which then did unfold.
So at that point, you thought in Ryan's mind that his U.S., kind of been there, done that, accomplished all the goals I wanted to, won Supercross titles, won outdoor titles. At that
point, he really wanted to retire. He didn't want to race anymore.
Okay.
But, like I said, there's always and finally, again, with enough money, and the concept is, that European, there's some brakes, there's a couple things, it's not Supercross, it's, it was the race that we attended over there when the whole thing was coming together was in Belgium. So the track was pretty nice. It was, looked pretty traditional motocross. It wasn't made out of cement hard pack, or it wasn't, just so thin. It was just a nice track. So he's like, yeah, look, these are good tracks,
And so he got your point of that is at that point it sparked his interest, and if he was either going to walk away, he was walking away, or he was going to do something new that would spark his interest. But
right, and it was always going to be just for 1 year. Even back when he wasn't quite ready, it was always going to be for 1 year.
Okay,
I just want to do it for 1 year.
All right. So the one thing that to me is, having done it and knowing many people that have done it successfully and unsuccessfully, the one thing to me, it's harder than it looks from the outside, and I think he didn't approach it. I don't know. To me, he didn't go over there early enough. He didn't participate in enough preseason rides. That's my feeling. He probably didn't surround himself with enough veteran people that, like I look back and I remember one of his comments that he wanted to be the first American to ever go over there and win the world championship on their first try. And then I look, and Danny Laporte is a good friend of mine, and Danny's like, I think that's already been done. It's Danny did it in 1982, and his first attempt at it did win the world championship. So I even not knowing the history of it, and I know it was a long time ago for a younger guy like Ryan Villapoto, but it has happened. And yet here's a guy like, hey, Danny, why don't you reach out to Danny? I mean, Danny's easily accessible through FMF or wherever, and go, hey, Danny,
and Danny continues to be a pretty international guy. I had dinner with him the other night.
Absolutely.
He was commenting on the same topic, Brock.
Well, it's like, hey, I'd have called up Danny Laporte and go, hey, I've seen a lot of people take 10 years to win a championship like Brad Lackey, and then I saw you did it in 1 year. How did you do it in your rookie year? And so what should I avoid? Where should I hang out? Where should I stay?
Yeah.
And I know there's lots of people that were trying to help him, but it just got off at a bad start in the very first GP, and he did win the one GP in Thailand, and other than that, it just wasn't.
We're making it sound like he raced 400 times over there. He raced 4 times.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
got, he stalled the bike, ignition flamed out on the start, so that was Moto 1. Moto 2 crashes a couple times. Then he goes 1-1, destroys them on like a 180-degree day.
No, he did not go 1-1 in
Thailand.
1-3. Yeah, exactly.
And then, then he has a tough race. And then he has a big get off.
Yep.
And that was the end of his European vacation. And then, I'm positive that you're very well aware of how hard it hurts, to try to ride a bike with a beat up, behind like that. I mean, that's just terrible.
You can't ride with your tailbone that's sitting on the seat every time. So
what else is going on in the world?
I know. Let's see. Are you going to Sturgis? We got the big.
I'm going to Sturgis for sure.
Are you at VMD?
75th anniversary. We've got a lot of great work we're going to get to do out there with the guys at Black Hills Harley. The Drag Specialty crew will be there. Then we get to do the FXR show, the most influential and awesome motorcycle Harley Davidson ever made. Remember I said that the one time, and the one Harley guest we had on was like, what? But they are.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff going on. We've been doing these Icon Street Limiter Harley versus V-Twin stunt bike shows, and the Harley's actually incredibly capable of beating a sport bike in these stunt shows.
Wow. Hey, so tell me,
Carpenter and Kyle Sliger, those are the riders.
Okay, so you're an Ohio guy, and Vintage Motorcycle Days, huge event at Mid-Ohio Raceway. Tell me, what's the latest at the Vintage Motorcycle Days this week here?
Well, they tried something a little unique. They wanted to go super duper old school. They wanted to go John DeSoto and everybody and go to a 3-moto format
on vintage bikes.
On vintage bikes
that were built in the 70s.
5 minutes on their own.
Yeah, they have a hard time making 20 minutes if you're not careful. But yeah.
So I guess they got through the first 2 motos. A little bit of a drizzle came in, and they decided to call it a day. So they stayed true with the 2-moto format. And our good buddy Mike Boja won plus 50 class and 125 pro. How about that for a
butt
couple
kicker
classes you decide to ride?
Jeez,
that's cool.
What kind of bike was he riding in the 125s?
Mugen 125 1980 full kitted up Honda, and then in the 50 class he has an 82 RM 250.
Good competitive bikes of their day, no question about it. So no wonder it's good. He's a good rider, a good bike, and
now what is Bike Week Radio going to build for the Golden One to come back to Unadilla's Rewind Weekend and compete next year? What are you guys throwing together?
Well, we've got a little fundraiser going here.
Yeah,
we're close.
Kickstarter campaign.
We need a Kickstarter.
Actually, technically, we have a Kickstarter and we have some grips. We just need to fill in the other voids.
How can you guys not? What is it, Golden Boy? An 85 YZ 490 had the 5-speed and all that. That was your favorite?
Oh yeah, it was my favorite.
Actually, Brock's got the bike. It's in his garage right now.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure he probably does.
Yeah, there's the vintage bike.
He only needs one, and he's got the best one right now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on back there, and so you're going to Black Hills Harley and the Sturgis event.
Yeah, you threatened to come out there a couple times to kind of give it your once over.
I did. I absolutely reneged 100%.
75th year, too.
I know. This was the year I was definitely going, and it just
You've got to be us there. You've got to represent. You've got to fly the Bike Week Radio Show flag in our behalf.
I'll be there on Sunday.
Okay. How about a call-in?
I could probably even go right to Black Hills Harley and get to the voice of the the rally at exit 55.
Bam.
Terry Reimer, get him on the show for a few minutes. Could you do it?
Sure. I mean, the guy's going to be extremely busy. I think they sell like 100 bikes during it.
It's crazy.
It's incredible. Like Harley Davidson's whole year of parts and accessory happens right there.
Some of our family will be there. The Coros,
Yeah.
Chuck and Wendy will be there with Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. The whole crew. I mean, I think they have a building there. I mean, they're very entrenched in Sturgis.
Yeah, you'll have to go by and say hi to the Russ Brown crew and tell them you're the
I
infamous.
see them down there. They're down on Lozelle and Main Street. They got the folks passing out all the information and the 75th souvenirs to everybody that walks by.
So
go there and give them a warm embrace.
So what bike will you be riding at the Sturgis Rally?
I have 2 bikes I have that I take out there because
how do you
of
ride
the,
2 at once?
This FXR show. I have an FXR. I have a bunch of those, but I take one, and then I have a bike that my queen T. Racy helped me design a few years ago, a black bagger.
Okay, awesome. So you got your girl designing your bikes now. I like that.
Oh yeah, because it's got the sexy line.
See, Rob is a smart guy.
See, he's like me. You guys are bagging on me that I had too many feminine interests here as we started the show. Look,
no, just that you ride
Rob's
a Segway.
Revealing a different facet of his personality as well.
Rob, let me ask you this. We were teasing Scott about liking riding Segways. So
they're fun.
And then he tells us that the guy who buys the company, and we thought he was lying. This is what we started the show with. We thought he was lying. The guy some multi-millionaire buys the company and then is found dead in a river, and they believe he rode off of a 70 or 80.
He went off a 30-foot cliff. It says in West Yorkshire, police reported that James Heselden, 62, who took control of the company this year.
A good friend of mine. You're saying don't ride Segways?
No, I'm all over it. Just don't go off a bridge and a cliff and end up in a river.
It says cause of death is yet to be determined.
About 25 of them, and he does tours through Pittsburgh on them.
Yeah.
They're always looking for guides.
And they're fun.
That's a second career for Scott Cox.
I'd guide that thing up. I put on my sailor's hat, my jock strap, and away we go.
They had Segway tours in D.C. and we did see those, and we considered it, but they also had cheaper, the easier bicycles.
Don't you think when you ride one off a cliff 60 feet, the cause of death is probably easy to determine?
The cops haven't determined it yet.
So the guy who owned
pretty gnarly off-road ones,
right?
They're not all just like Paul Blart Mall Cop kind of ones. They got some pretty cool ones.
Hey, Dakar Rally podium rider Chris Blaze, he has one that he uses in the dunes. It's awesome.
The best part about that whole story, though, is the guy looks exactly like Geraldo Ferracci.
He looks like remember Geraldo Ferracci? He looked this guy who actually owned the company. But yeah, so the guy who owned,
may he rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. But he went off a 60-foot cliff and on his product. So that's why I don't ride them, because I don't want to be the second guy.
Now we'll segue to a commercial.
That's right. Like Geraldo Ferracci.
He does. I'll send you the link, Rob.
All right, Rob. Thanks so much for entertaining us, brother. Have a good one.
I could just see Bike Week radio shows, gang, rolling up. You three on Segways, me on a Vespa scooter.
I want to flip a number plate. Yeah. I want a number plate on mine with flames, or I'm not doing it.
Oh man, here comes those badass Bike Week guys. Wait,
don't mess with them.
Is that them on Segways?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Bobby, if you have cards in the spokes,
don't make eye contact.
Exactly, and be making rumbling noises, trying to sound like Big V Twin.
Well, coming up next, Tim Hines from CurbNinja. It's a really cool new smartphone app. It gives you motorcycle parking spots, maybe even Segway parking spots. We might have just opened up an entire new avenue for CurbNinja. We'll talk to them, see if they can have some Segway parking in there.
Maybe they'll even have an app for a coat check for a cardigan sweater or something. Whatever it takes, right?
Tim's our man. He can program that for us.
Okay. And coming up right now, though, one of those helpful riding hints. They'll be up at Sturgis, like we just talked about. Our good buddies at Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys with another helpful riding hint. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys have been representing riders for decades. And here's Chuck Coro from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys to provide you with a helpful riding hint.
We all know it's important for motorcyclists to be seen and be as visible as possible. One way to do that is with a modulating headlight. But there are certain restrictions pursuant to Vehicle Code Section 25251.2. A motorcycle can have a modulating headlight if the higher and lower beams modulate between 200 and 280 flashes per minute, and a modulating headlight cannot be used after dark.
This helpful hint has been brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys at 1-800-4BIKERS or online at russbrown.com.
Summer fun on the water has never been easier and more affordable than during Yamaha's First Choice for Fun savings event at Fun Bike Center. Check out the 2015 Wave Runners featuring Ride by Yamaha, the world's first dual throttle handlebar control system for a ride unlike anything else on the water. And right now, get the season's best finance offers on all 2015 and prior year Wave Runners, plus your choice of extended warranty or additional incentives on select models. Visit Fun Bike Center to check out San Diego's largest selection of Wave Runners. Learn more at funbike.com.
It doesn't get any lower than 0% financing for 63 months on new Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Exclusively at El Cajon Harley-Davidson. That's right, for a limited time only, get 0% financing for 63 months. Only from El Cajon Harley-Davidson. No games, no gimmicks, but you gotta hurry up and get into El Cajon Harley-Davidson because this offer expires on Sunday, July 12th. 0 down options also available. That's 0% financing until Sunday, July 12th, OAC. Apply online at elcajonharley.com or visit them at 621 El Cajon Boulevard. Financing OAC and down payment may be required for 0% promo. Cannot be combined with other offers. See dealer for details. elcajonharley.com or nearby in El Cajon at 621 El Cajon Boulevard.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year. Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7. Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown, 1-800-4BIKERS, and online at russbrown.com.
You're listening to Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Woldridge, Brock Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Looking for adventure. And whatever comes
Welcome back to Bike Week Radio Show. News. San Diego Sports Leader, Mighty 1090. Occasionally, we like to mix in some show with just the fooling around behind the scenes.
Oh, my God.
How long were we on?
Was that mic hot?
No, thank goodness.
Paul's red.
And there's a truck just pulled up from the FCC in front of the station.
Oh, boy.
Well,
it's the FUCC.
Let's head out to the hotline where Tim Hines, founder of CurbNinja, joins Bike Week Radio Show the first time. Very excited to have you. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great. And Tim, we've just been reading up on the CurbNinja app and really excited. And we got
some of us have been using
a few new downloads, in fact, yes. But tell us a little bit about what CurbNinja is.
Yeah, so CurbNinja is an app that's, it's designed to help motorbikers avoid parking tickets and costly damage to their bikes when they're parking in the city. So we built an app that allows bikers to not only find but share the safest and reliable places to park when riding into cities like San Diego.
Well, that is very cool. So, I mean, I don't want to tell you, you don't have to give all away your trade secrets, but how does it know?
Just share a few with us.
Yeah, so how does it know there's a motorcycle parking spot versus
It's like a community thing where you would tell if you went there and found a cool parking place. Isn't that how it works?
Why don't you let Tim answer, the founder of the program, right, smart guy?
Oh, I thought he was talking to Paul.
I just want to let you know I thought of this like 8 years ago, before there was even apps.
Before there was a smartphone on his flip phone.
Go ahead,
Tim. I'm glad you thought of it years ago, but I'm glad that I thought of it recently and got it out before
Bam.
you did.
Right in the
when I'm in tech, you know. No, but yeah, the way it works is we actually work with cities kind of on a one-on-one basis. A lot of cities like San Diego, and I'm actually up in San Francisco, have designated motorcycle parking that they actually paint on the street for their citizens. So you may see that when you're downtown San Diego, you'll see some of those spots. So what we do is we work with the cities to get the database of parking spots, and then we upload them into our database. But then, yeah, we also rely on users to input spots that they find as well. So we do have that crowdsourcing feature. So it's like, hey, if I found a really cool spot up in, Balboa Park, or, another like hidden spot, maybe like, in the gas lamp or something like that, they can actually use our app to what we call tag a spot. And then once they fill out the information in there, the spot is live and available for everybody who's using the app to see. It's pretty cool.
And Paul's the one over there on the side. He's over there with us. He's got a little sign: free parking for $2. Free for $2. Free for $5. He's over there trying to. He doesn't want to upload the spot to your app.
I like it too because it's really detailed. I mean, This is Comic-Con weekend, probably the biggest thing that happens in San Diego each year, and I'm a San Diego native. I'm amazed how many places there are to park. This is really
you're
great.
On it now?
And I'm on it right now. And it's really detailed. You hit one of these little spots. I'm at 1098 8th Avenue. There's 7 spots available.
That's cool.
The app indicates if it's free. It's 12.54 miles from the studio here. I mean, this thing is really buttoned up, Tim. You've done a wonderful job with this app.
Yeah, thanks. We tried to just make the user experience as simple as possible. We wanted to make it really clear, really easy to understand, and then also translatable to every city. So we're in 6 cities right now, up and down the West Coast. And
what cities are you in? Just to...
Yeah, so we're in San Francisco, we're in San Jose, San Diego, Las Vegas, Seattle, and Sacramento.
So what's it take to add a city? If somebody comes to you from Porterville, I mean, what's the process for getting Porterville involved?
Yeah. Well, where's Porterville? I don't even know where that is.
Well, let's just say it's Porterville. It's an imaginary
Maybe we
state,
should go with a city that actually has a parking problem.
Okay, how about Portland, Oregon?
Okay, sure. Actually, I'm glad you brought up Portland because we're launching Portland this week.
Oh.
Yeah, hey, there it is.
Scott,
so somebody comes to us, and somebody comes up and says, hey, I'd like motorcycle parking in my city. How do we do that? Well, we've got a target list of cities already on our horizon that we're continuing to try to work with, and we do a bunch of homework on the back end and try to figure out if the city has any motorcycle parking infrastructure. And then we reach out to the city and see if we can talk to their parking division and then get as much data as we can. And then, we start working on just doing a massive data dump into our app, and one by one, and then just double checking the spots and then getting them up. So it takes a little while to get the cities up, but we launched this new version of our app back in May, and we're already in 6 cities, so we're able to do it relatively quickly. So we're excited to bring Portland on this week.
I've got a softball one for you. This is a freebie from Bike Week Radio Show. Sturgis.
Yeah.
Sturgis is coming. The whole city. You can just put one big drop a pin right there. The entire city is free parking, and you'll get credit for it. And I'll bet you'll be the first parking app in Sturgis.
Yeah, no, we would love to be at Sturgis. It'd be an amazing promotion for us. We actually were at the Hollister Freedom Rally here in California last weekend. I guess that's the biggest one in California,
correct.
If I'm not mistaken. We were out there promoting, and people were asking us about the app, and so we got quite a few more users from that rally too.
How can Bike Week Radio Show listeners interact with you? I mean, give suggestions, give you some feedback. What's the best way?
Yeah, I mean, we've been getting a lot of feedback from people on Facebook, Twitter. They can always email us. My email is tim@curbninja.com. Super simple. Of course, they can download the app too. I mean, right now it's iOS only, so it's only on iPhone, but we'll be launching the Android app by the end of the summer. So all of those Android users will be able to start using it too. But yeah, they can feel free to email me directly and jump on our social media. We always respond really quick.
And it's free of charge. Our listeners love that.
Charge. Yeah, that's the best part. We figured since this is our goal is to try to help the community. We didn't want to charge the community to then also give us information. That whole crowdsourcing thing, it didn't really make sense. And we wanted to, we're bikers ourselves. So we're like, this is a problem that we experienced. Both my founder and I are from Chicago originally, where there's zero motorcycle parking. They have no city parking at all. And the problem is even worse there because the only place to park is between cars. And so we started mapping them out. We just put them into a Google map ourselves. And then I was like, hey, we should build an app and share this with the other bikers around here. And he's like, yeah. So that's kind of where the idea came out. And so we're, as app bikers, we wanted to just help the community out with this app.
How about Europe? Where's that in your planning?
Yeah, Europe is definitely on the horizon. Europe is something we know nothing about.
I'll go check it out for you. Yeah, no, just go ahead and
we have
for me.
significant contacts in Europe to help you pave the way.
Oh, perfect. Then I've got my connection through you guys. That'll be awesome.
Very cool. I've been playing around with the CurbNinja app during this entire interview, and it's a fun app, and we were very big on Bike Week Radio Show is just community of bikers helping each other. And that's our big thing with Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys,
Absolutely.
One of our sponsors. And we love the fact that it's just building more strength in our motorcycle community.
Yeah, this is definitely a step in the right direction. And, as you pointed out in Chicago, we've all grown up parking our bikes where we could stuff it. Not always a good decision. So it's nice to know that with the cost of motorcycles and gear nowadays, that's your $25,000 or $30,000 BMW or Bagger Harley. When you arrive in a town that you're not familiar with, you've got something like CurbNinja to help pave the way. Tim, thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for having me on. We're just, like I said, just trying to help everybody out. So
good stuff. All right, buddy. Take care. We'll anytime you launch a few new cities, feel free to come back on and let us know here on Bike Week Radio Show. We'd love to help spread the word and help everybody out.
Especially if he gets that Porterville act.
Yeah, get to work on Porterville this afternoon.
And we need some Segway parking. We've been talking about that, too.
Yeah.
We need Segway parking will be our next version of the app.
Good man.
Yeah, I think your Porterville will probably fall under. I think it's by Bakersfield.
It is.
Yeah. Just
there's a racetrack
northeast of Bakersfield, I think so. Okay.
Huge parking problem there.
Yeah, big parking problem.
But it's free.
It's free.
Thanks, Tim. All right, more Bike Week Radio Show heading up next. You boys will be on the road, so let me hear the scouting report when we get back.
We need to rattle down the calendars.
All your bags are packed. You're ready to go. Coming up next, more Bike Week Radio Show. San Diego Sports Leader, Mighty 1090.
It doesn't get any lower than 0% financing for 63 months on new Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Exclusively at El Cajon Harley-Davidson. That's right. For a limited time only, get 0% financing for 63 months. Only from El Cajon Harley-Davidson. No games, no gimmicks, but you gotta hurry up and get into El Cajon Harley-Davidson because this offer expires on Sunday, July 12th. 0 down options also available. That's 0% financing until Sunday, July 12th. OAC. Apply online at elcajonharley.com or visit them at 621 El Cajon Boulevard. Financing OAC and down payment may be required for 0% promo. Cannot be combined with other offers. See dealer for details. elcajonharley.com or nearby in El Cajon at 621 El Cajon Boulevard.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Summer fun on the water has never been easier and more affordable than during Yamaha's First Choice for Fun savings event at Fun Bike Center. Check out the 2015 Wave Runners featuring Ride by Yamaha, the world's first dual throttle handlebar control system for a ride unlike anything else on the water. And right now, get the season's best finance offers on all 2015 and prior year Wave Runners, plus your choice of extended warranty or additional incentives on select models. Visit Fun Bike Center to check out San Diego's largest selection of Wave Runners. Learn more at funbike.com.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com.
This is Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Woldridge, Brock Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show. Thanks again to Tim Hines and Rob Bidos for joining the program. If you've missed any of those interviews, head to bikeweekradioshow.com. Check out the podcast or download our smartphone app, Bike
which
Week
will
Radio
guide
Show.
you to CurbNinja.
CurbNinja. I'd like that to be my new nickname. Go ahead and trademark it right now. You guys, feel free to call me the CurbNinja.
Okay.
Poster child.
You are the man.
Well, Paul Carruthers, you're heading to Laguna Seca. Brock Glover, you'll be on the... Oh, no.
No.
You get to stay in town.
Hall
pass.
I'm skipping Millville this year. I'm going to stay home for a little... our daughter's in a little choir performance, so I'm doing the stay home and I'm going to enjoy myself.
Have you been rehearsing some lines with your lovely daughter? Have you been doing the musical song and dance as well?
The last thing in the whole world you want is me to sing.
Brock Glover, the musical.
You should see him in his Lederhosen, though, over at the house when they do the Sound of Music soundtrack. It's impressive.
The Hills Are Alive.
Yeah. Still my favorite movie, so stop it.
Brock Glover and the Von Trapp Family Singers. I would pay good money to see that.
You know, I stayed at a hotel in Salzburg once with Dan Walsh, and when we were checking out, I noticed under the glass, it's a tiny hotel, and their claim to fame was there was a canceled check from Maria Von Trapp there.
All right.
It was like you make a pilgrimage to check that thing out.
That's very good.
Well, tell us about Laguna Seca. What's on the schedule? This is pretty exciting. You get to actually stay relatively close to home for a race.
Yeah, believe it or not, we've had 6 of our 9 races already, and this is our first California event.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be nice. It's just a couple hours up the road in a plane. And then we do a press conference in San Francisco on Wednesday morning, and then a fan thing Wednesday evening, and then back down to Monterey for the rest of the weekend. So it should be good. There's in our Superbike series, there's 4 points separating. Our buddy Josh Hayes has taken the lead in the championship over his teammate Cameron Beaubier. So 4 points with 3 rounds and 6 races left. So it's funny. That's proven to be our closest championship of all, and sometimes that's not the case. It's the premier class. Right. So it's everything's going pretty well, and it'll be, I mean, as I said earlier, I mean, Laguna Seca, if you're going to go to one race, and you're a Superbike fan, and you get to see the World Championship guys race 2 rounds on Sunday, and we race our 2 rounds on Sunday, that's 4 pretty big Superbike races.
Of competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost.
Are you frazzled at the end of the day, Paul?
This one's probably going to be less so than normal because, you know,
we're not close to wine country.
Well, we're not. Yeah. We're not the only show there, and
you're not responsible for all of it.
Well, we're not responsible for all of it. You know, we kind of ride little tailcoats there for a little bit, but it'll be good. It'll be fun. It's always good to see all those international guys there, and I know our guys get to like racing in front of them. Even the KTM kids get to race in front of the international
RC390 Cup.
Awesome. Yeah,
that's pretty exciting.
That's a good opportunity for those kids to maybe get some attention.
Yeah, I've always pumped that little Josh Cernay.
He's a good kid.
Cystic fibrosis.
We gotta have him on.
Yeah,
great story in Cycle News.
Yeah, I read it. Believe me, I read it. It's very, very cool. So awesome. It seems like the Moto America getting some traction. More factories next year, maybe? Or
yeah, I think so. I mean, awesome. You know, I think Kawasaki's seriously looking at it, as is Honda, and you know that's obviously going to make a big difference if we can work those.
Bike Week Radio Show is always very seriously looking at it.
That's
just want you to know
that. Good job, Paul, and good job to Wayne Rainey and the whole crew up there. It's nice to see road racing get some life back in it in America.
We're trying.
And good job to you, Brock Glover.
Oh my gosh.
Well, now that you're in town,
your friend payment is now officially in the mail.
Well, now that you're in town, my friend, we'll have to hit up some golf this week. Paul Carruthers, great work out of you. Oh, before we go, last thing too.
Hey, wait a minute.
Lyle Lovett's coming to town. We got to give a shout out to our buddy Lyle. He's going to be at Humphreys by the Bay.
I know he's listening.
Next Monday, the 20th. So not this Monday, tomorrow, Monday the 20th. You still got time. 8 days to get your tickets.
I'm going to
Humphreys
do
by
my
the Bay.
best to actually go see him because I never have. So.
And I bet you're going to hit him up
It's a
for free
wonderful
tickets.
show.
Cheapskate.
Well, you never know.
As I will too. Lyle, I'd love to go to the show.
Okay. Well, I know we'll be there.
He knows
so.
a guy.
Yeah, he was out busting laps on his Husqvarna, about 74 Husky 125.
74, 125
Yep.
WR.
Yep. Very cool.
But we'll run up a big tab at the bar, Lyle. We promise that.
That's right.
So, Humphreys by the Bay, Lyle Lovett. Got to see it. Amazing show. We'll be back next Sunday right here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.